So, what do you feel about older women having sex with teens? I want you to leave me a comment on that, dear viewer. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. So, Arizona, a 28-year-old by the name of Brittany Zamora was sentenced to 20 years in prison for a sex crime committed against a 13-year-old boy. The teacher is serving time for performing sex on various occasions with the 13-year-old. She apologized in court for her conduct, and she stated she tries to obey all the laws, and she also stated that she is not a threat to society. Those were her words and not mine. She also apologized to the victims and their family members over what she, had done, right? She claims she holds interest of self-improvement by earning a degree while she's in prison, as well as wanting to enter a counseling program within the prison. June 2019, Zamora pleaded guilty to child molestation, public sexual indecency, and sexual conduct. Those was in fact, yes. Did you get that, dear viewer? She pleaded guilty to child molestation, public sexual indecency, and sexual conduct. Zamora once recommended an 11-year-old friend of the 13-year-old. She guided the 11-year-old to stand watching the sexual deed between she and the 13-year-old. She in fact did, right? She stood watching what was going on. Or not, she stood. I'm sorry. She had the 11-year-old. That's why I was trying to think that out. My thinking processes is jumping over the other because I'm like, first interaction with the story pertaining to that, I was thinking to myself, well, who does that? Right? To be 28 years old, that's a little bit off a ways away, right? To be 11 years old and a teacher have you as in guide you to stand as you are 11 years old to watch that teacher and a 13-year-old have full-blown sex is to say the woman, she's in fact questionable, right? It shows she has a young mindset, or something is off, or something went wrong, or something in her childhood, or something, because to have a 11-year-old stand and watch you have sex with a 13-year, I couldn't make sense from the beginning. It just, I'm sure you, the viewer, that's why we here, right? To not understand something is to try to pick it apart with that. What does it do for an 11-year-old to stand there watching a 28 and 13-year-old have sex together? What does that in fact do? I fail to understand myself. I just do, right? Because I'm trying to see and process, understand her mindset, as in what's the enjoyment in that? I can't even see. Because kids don't think like grown people when it comes to stuff like that, right? Let me see. The 13-year-old victim, his family did not attend sentencing, but the lawyer of the family read a statement. The mother of the 13-year-old, she in fact, was in hurt and deep pain and deep hatred towards Zamora for sexually abusing her son, right? There's more to be asked about that, but questions. Is 20 years long enough in serving time? Is 20 years, to give somebody 20 years for a sex crime, that should ask the question of, Is that long enough? Should she be sentenced longer? She looks young in the face. Look at her. She looks somewhat young in the face, and yet you never know her mindset. I'm all about questioning mindsets, right? How long should this individual be serving at 28 years old? Michael Jackson, for those that don't know, Michael Jackson never touched a child. I had to look at that photo up there again. In fact, when it comes to the Jackson family and all the rest, the things I know. Some will ask, well, why is his face there while you're talking about missing children and sex crimes and all the rest? Because it needs to be there. As in, I know real from fake, as in what could have happened and what might not have happened and all the rest. The man never touched a child. So moving on. So the 20 years. Is 20 years long enough? Yeah, 20 years. I'll have to stand and question that a bit more, because you want to in fact dissect down further, because even mental has to, I said that already, has to play a part in that as well as the intention and the motive with even her own stance, right? To see, could she be given more time, or should the time be cut down as in a less crime? I think 20 years is long enough. Because to be 28 years old and serve 20 long years is to say, yeah. The matching of the age with the years and spans, right? Let's just say she's going to be about 50 something about time she get out, right? That's long enough to sit and think about what she has done, right? That's the two asks, would she be having sexual relations with, or sexual contacting, doing conduct deeds sexually with inmates and all the rest, right? You don't know people's thinking, right? So what do you feel about that, dear viewer? I want you to leave me a comment in the comment section about that. Because for somebody to have sex with somebody that young is to say, I know they practiced that. I was going to say back in ancient times. Not ancient times. The wording with even that. But people have been known to do stuff like that. Even in certain states, people have been known. Virginia being one. Having sex with younger. Yeah. Over the border, as in, yeah. Other territories outside of the U.S. where people in fact marry the young brides and all the rest, right? So everybody thinks differently about that. Me, I'm the type of person, I don't shame when it comes to you leaving the comment as in you're saying, well, I agree with that, underage, whatever, or I don't agree. Because see, to even there's more to that. Remember, society has been set up by those in power, right? Some people agree with things and some people don't. And yet to want to know, well, see, because me, I don't agree with teachers that much in age doing deeds like that with somebody, and especially 11-year-olds watching like that. That's a no-go. Where she had sex with them in the classroom and all the rest. I can't really get into that sort of thing, right? But sometimes I be wanting to know, people that do agree with that type of stuff, I'll be wanting to know the reason of why they agree with that sort of thing. Why do you agree with somebody with that? A teacher having sex with a young student in the classroom, and other kids in the classroom knew about it, right? Not everybody think the same. That's what I'm trying to say, right? We live in a melting pot here in America, right? So what good could come out of that? Because as we're seeing, there's nothing good that the jail time came out of that. But I'm wondering what she thought could have been something that would have been good to come out of this situation. See where I'm going with this? Taking a step further and asking and analyzing. Because to know that you're having sex with an underage kid in the classroom, and she was doing these things where even other students, and she had full-blown sex with this child in the classroom, and other kids in the classroom knew about it, as in they were able to see while movies and stuff was on, right? Because see, kids tell everything. That's what I don't understand. Kids is known to tell everything. Let me go visit or be out of state somewhere or something, and stay the night over somebody's house, and somebody's kid is there, and uh I'm told, well, yeah, usually nobody's allowed to, enter the refrigerator, or nobody's allowed to go use this bathroom and say, I gotta pee real bad. And I say, well, I just need to hurry up and go in here. And I tell the kid, don't say nothing to your mom, or I needed to use this bathroom, right? Later on, that kid is gonna more likely come out their mouth and tell. Well, and more likely be laughing and joking. Well, mom, nobody's allowed to use that bathroom, or dad, or whatever, whoever house I'm over, the bathroom is roped off, and yet she had to go in there and pee. Cause kids laugh about certain things. That's how stuff end up slipping out and all the rest, right? And so I don't understand how this teacher failed to understand that if you have sexual relations and sexual conduct, behavior, and all the rest in a classroom where you're doing it in front of other kids, what don't make you think that they're gonna go back and tell authority of some kind? It's like almost as if she wanted to get caught or something. Maybe the excitement was in that, knowing, well, I'm 28 and I'm having sex with these kids in the classroom, and more than likely I won't never get caught or something like that, and yet I want to or something. The excitement, because there's a reason why people have sex and cheat and all the rest. There's an excitement level in that, as in the reason why people choose timing, places, and locations, right? But to know that at any time, see, that's what I don't get. Because see, to be a school teacher and know that there's no lock on the door is to say at any time a principal could have walked in, a fellow peer of yours, such as another staff member, a teacher, any one of those people could have walked in on this grown woman having full-blown sex with kids in the classroom. That's to say she let her guard down all the way with even that, and it shows something. You don't think that far? Hello? Some people, in fact, don't think that far. They think, well, let me have sex with these kids in the classroom and nobody will know, and I allow all the kids to watch as we're doing it, and yet nobody's going to find out. You don't think the janitor could have walked in. See how far I'm well off in thinking with even that. As in able to see, well, it's not a bedroom. There's no lock on that. Some of these doors, when you in fact close them, I can go back years back and remember school times and school days and all the rest, right? And Degrassi High and all. To know, that's a joke, and yet it's not right. Degrassi High, right? Shouts out to Drake, the rapper Drake, that made it from the bottom, started from the bottom. Now I'm here. No fearing out in that Degrassi, right? He didn't start too much from the bottom, because to know that you came from Degrassi, I'm saying Drake the rapper. I'm all off topic. But yeah, to know that a school, when it comes to the doors and door handles, is to say, well, you close the door, you're having sex with these kids, but what if the door hasn't not been closed all the way? Even there's a draft. Summertime, wintertime, window open, window closed. As in a door is likely to creep back open. Creak back open or creep back open. Whatever wording you want to use for that, where a door can open up slowly by itself, and there you have it, or something where somebody walked past, because even teachers are known to see a door slightly cracked open. If there could have been, doors are known to open. Even house doors are known to open, right? Even other places, that suspect office doors, right? It's to say, what if a door would have cracked open or something like that, based off a little draft or air drift. There's people that, business people, office people, school teachers that have been known to walk past places where a door is cracked, and they say, oh, let me go in here, because it's your natural instinct that the door is cracked, so I'm going to go in here to either say hi, even an interruption. When you was a kid, young kid, and other teachers would come into a classroom, even with the door closed. See what I'm saying? I don't understand. I don't understand. Another teacher could have needed something at any time of the day while they was having sex in that classroom. A janitor might have wanted to come and change the trash or the lining and all the rest on the garbage. Even janitors are known to enter rooms when even class is going on. Ask anybody that has worked in school settings. I myself have, right? Have family members that have, right? And so that's a no-go. As in, she wasn't looking out completely the way that I don't know. Because I'm saying all this because I'm in question of what all possibly could have went wrong in the process, as in being found out right on the spot, right? That's how things that's done in the dark. I said this already. Anything that you do in the dark has a way to ease out and come to the light, right? As it's gonna make its way out, find its way out, right? You stand suspect and even that, right? I want you, the viewer, because see, I'm going how you get on a train and you keep going and going on with that, right? Basically, the story is over. I'm just in question of things, is what I'm trying to say, and yet I keep going much further instead of stopping, because sometimes to go much further in questioning things is to go till you can't go no more, right? That woman's mind is faulty. Think of all the possibilities I'm saying in the situation being found out, or how it could have been found out. Because to have sex with students on the school's ground or school grounds. To have sex with students on school grounds. Knowing that some of these schools in fact have security guards and all the rest with that, right? Security guards have been known to enter into classrooms while class is going on. State to state, each school is different, as well as the teaching environment. So some schools have security guards, some schools don't. Some security guards sit outside in their car where they're not all on the premises, all like that. And yet some schools, in fact, do have security guards, right? So babysitters, situations like this, anytime a 28-year-old has sex with a child like that, right? It's the question, could that sort of thing have happened in the past? The age difference of kids with younger boys or younger girls, right? Babysitters in the past. I think about the 80s, because even back then you had many babysitters. You had them in the suburbs, you had them in the hood, you had them in rural areas, right? I don't know why Asia Degree pops up in mind with that. Anytime I mention babysitters, Asia Degree, the missing child, yes, from Shelby, North Carolina, she always pop up in mind, right? So babysitters, because you get to thinking, if so many of these individuals out here are much older, and they're remember, to be a teacher is to overlook somebody that's younger than you, right? This woman that committed the sex crime, she was much older, which means she was a teacher, but more so a babysitter. Because even in 2019, teachers are more babysitters than they are teachers, right? They're there to teach you and all the rest, but they're babysitting because the parents are not there, right? So to know that a woman is an authority, or was an authority as a teacher, she's now an ex-teacher, is to ask the question, to know that houses have beds or sofas and all the rest, is to ask even that, if that sort of thing was going down in the 70s and the 80s, of babysitters preying on kids, keeping kids, watching them and all the rest, even overnight, right? What could the percentage be, even say grown people, if they never come out their mouth and tell that in the 70s or 80s, or when they were kids, even back then, who could have been babysitting them and having sex with them? Because to know that a parent says, or whoever says, let me step out for the day or the evening or whatever, and I'm going to leave my child home with the babysitter, is to say anything could have taken place between that child and the babysitter. Have people considered that sort of thing? People need to pay attention when I mention stuff like that. Babysitters babysitting your children even in 2019, because to know society was bad back then is to say it's not well off, and today it's worse off, right? And so that's a question. Even with that, pick that apart with your brain, dear viewer. As in, who are you leaving your kids with in the babysitting realm? Babysitting nature with that. Who do you allow your kids to stay with when you have things to do? Who is the babysitter, and what's the reason for them being there? Do you know everything about their background? Do they like to have sex with kids or adults? See, some people, they don't think about stuff like that. They don't even consider stuff like that. Well, I need a babysitter, so I'm going to go ahead and hire a babysitter because I got things to do. Or I'm going to drop the kids off at the babysitters. They take their kids to other people's houses not knowing when it comes to habitation and all the rest, right? As in what is going down in other people's house. Just because you got a babysitter don't mean that you know everything about that babysitter. That babysitter could be doing anything with your kids and could be involved in all type of whatever. The babysitter. See, if I had somebody babysit my kids, I would rather them be where I am, as in my place of living and all the rest. As in the kids will have to be in my environment and the babysitter will have to come there. As in how they used to do back in the old days. I was going to say olden days. That's like Oprah's wording. Olden days, right? That's funny. That is true. So these days and times and age where society is progressing and moving further and we're transpiring in tech and all the rest, right? It's to say stuff is not slowing down. It's in fact accelerating. As JP Morgan, the business, even they was talking about the same thing I was talking about days back. How society speeding up poses challenges for everybody, right? That's to say, the more things speed up, the less hours parents will be spending with their children. That poses a problem with the babysitter, because some of these parents are reckless enough to pick and choose any babysitter and drop their kids off at anybody's house and consider them the babysitter. They don't know how the babysitter cook their food. It could pose issues, right? Like, they don't know how the babysitter keeps rooms in the house. I keep going to rooms because that's where we're headed in that. Even more. Delving deeper. To say if I'm dropping my child off at a babysitter, because teacher and babysitter, I keep looking at that. That's like one and the same, right? I've worked at the YMCA as well as a lead teacher, right? So I know I was even the bus driver of the, yes. And so to know that I had to babysit kids that were not my own at even a young age, all that went on in my my late 20s, right? It's to say, if you don't know too much about, because see, even these parents don't even know too much about the teaching environment. You got many parents that don't even do visitation announcements and all the rest, or just visitation, right? PTA, the parent teacher, yes, conferences and all the rest. You got parents that don't even get involved with that. If I'm a parent, I need to be knowing what is all going on in the classroom. I might in fact have to take days where I actually sit in on a lesson or something, if I can, from time to time, and possibly make it monthly, where I'm a teacher, because I want even that teacher to know I'm involved in my child's life. And not only that, I want that teacher to know that no matter what you do in this classroom, if it's good or bad, I'm going to be a part of that process, as in that's the ending outcome of me being involved, right? Not everybody think that way, which is how teachers are able to get away with certain things such as sex crimes, because sometimes parents don't put themselves there in the classroom enough. There's parents that in fact do say, well, they're going on a field trip, I'm gonna go. That's in fact fine, but that's not enough. You in fact want to be in the classroom if you can. Make it monthly. Make it every Friday or something. where I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to be involved. If they doing arts and craft or something, I want to be a part of that, because I want that teacher to know how much I care about my child. But not only that, more than anything, I want that teacher to know I got my eyes on her. That's why you do that. You do stuff like that to let the teacher know I got my eye on you. So if you mistreat my child or anything like that, I'm going to know about it, because anything you become more a part of, you're able to see into, and you can suspect when something is wrong going on in the classroom. Even a parent of another child, say this woman was having sex with a 13-year-old, right? Like she was, and having an 11-year-old watch. You can be a parent of neither of those two children and suspect that something is wrong. Does that make sense? If I get involved and I say make visitations up to the school every 2 weeks or every Friday, and tell the teacher, look, I want to be up here every Friday. I can even help you, as in even volunteer in helping you. You, the teacher, right? I'm a parent and my child, right? You can be that a well-evolved mind is able to see that far. If a teacher is having sex with kids in that classroom, that would have prevented some of it. Because see, to have a teacher, that's what I'm saying. People don't think that far, and yet I do. Shouts out to Oprah. That's a love letter I just said in wording. If you're a parent, get me on this. If I'm a parent and I start volunteering at the school every Friday or every 2 weeks at the school, that's to say I might in fact pop up unannounced. Does that make sense? And that teacher is not going to know when I'm coming through. That's going to make that teacher draw back some. Does that make sense? That's going to make that teacher more likely draw back some in the nature and realm of her not wanting to really say be involved in a classroom and do certain sexual deeds in the classroom with the students. She's going to consider, well, I don't know when such and such is going to be visiting or making a visitation. That's why that's what I'm saying. That's why parents need to be more involved in their kids' life in the realm of these classrooms. Because even if I go and I'm a parent and I show up, as in it's documented in the principal's office or wherever the staff members got it documented that I'm a visitor wearing a visitor's pass, and I come and I help volunteer every so many times out the week or monthly, right? It's to say I might in fact skip on even that. Not skip out. No. Skip a day or skip a week, right? Where the teacher don't even know that I'm coming as a visitor, right? That teacher don't know. So that teacher is more likely gonna be on the lookout, because see, she don't really know. That's gonna make her keep her hands to herself somewhat. You gotta know how to analyze and pick apart stuff, dear people. Yes, with that. Because see, any type of thing can happen in a classroom, and this is the 10th time I said that, right? And yet to have a parent get involved, I feel in a sense multiple parents should be involved and volunteering and all the rest in their child's life, as in being in the classroom if you can. I know some parents work a lot, right? But for those that don't, they need to be a part of that learning process. Because see, sometimes there's children that in fact have needs, and I don't mean special needs. No, not like that. No. Needs where even because their parent works so much, they're not able to provide the nurturance or something like that. So somebody else is going to in fact might have to provide it, and it could be another parent stepping into that classroom, helping the teacher with that, right? That's how some kids in fact what's the wording for it, act out and all the rest, because some kids in fact are in classrooms acting out. You don't know how this woman in fact got her hands on this child. You don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because even a child can be needy in the classroom, as in needing attention, needing comfort, needing something, and teachers will prey on that type of stuff. The thinking it through. Well, how did this teacher make her way on this student to begin with? Despite what was said, because sometimes things that's said even in media is not all the way placed out there, right? For you to think. The critical thinking and logic and reasoning, right? The kid could have been needy because the parent might have worked a lot, or maybe not, right? We're not going to put the complete blame on the parent. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to research on even that at face in my mind. In my head drones. Head space with that, right? Could at any time that kid have needed something, attention, or didn't? Because see, even people that prey on kids sometimes go and aim and target for the kids that they know they're able to get over on in sex crimes, right? So yeah, the questioning of the child, right? What type of neediness was there, if any? What type of attention was lacking, if any? Or did she just push herself on these kids, right? Because there was various ones. But two, to have another parent involved in the learning process, as in another parent coming to say, be a part of the process in the classroom, volunteering with the teacher or helping the teacher out weekly or something like that, right? You have many stay-at-home moms and all the rest is what I'm trying to say that need to be more involved in the classroom. It's to say, even if that kid or that child had some neediness, instead of the child being preyed on by the teacher, maybe another parent could have said help and given the child attention with no sex needing to be there. You got to understand how people prey on people. Every human needs attention of some type. It shows that even that teacher needed some type of attention. It shows she had issues or something, right? But even that child, once again, could have had issues of needing attention. And maybe she showed it to the child sexually. And yet there's a right and wrong way with even that. Many of these teachers all across the nation need to have assistants or something. All these classrooms, in fact, need to have assistants when it comes to certain grade levels. Now, once it gets to being, say, high school and all the rest is to not need them, right? Because, see, to have an assistant in these classrooms with these teachers being in, is to say the assistant is there to see everything. And even if a teacher or assistant that's assistant to a teacher, even if that assistant wanted to take advantage or prey on kids, even the teacher will be there enough to see, right? See, classrooms, I don't know. That's the thing about the learning process. A classroom has to be always quiet enough for kids to learn. But I was gonna say, there should in fact that might in fact need to take place. As I'm sitting here long enough thinking, these classrooms, the doors should be made of glass. Did anybody consider that? These classrooms, I might in fact need to contact somebody, even law enforcement, with that. These classrooms, school classrooms, some type of way need to be, because if we got bulletproof when you go to gas stations to prevent robbery and theft and all that, they got a certain type of, yes, to prevent that robbery at a gas station or something, is to say that even something needs to be see-through on the door on these classrooms. Because to say that this teacher did what she did is to say more teachers are more likely doing stuff like this. Don't think that this is just one sex crime and one sex case. Don't ever think that. Don't let that bypass your eyes. Just because it didn't make it in the news, you think, oh, well, she's the only one. No. There's more likely, as I sit on this camera on this, yes, evening, on a weekly basis, there could be kids that's being taken advantage of in classrooms, and you just don't know and don't see about it because it hasn't been found out yet, right? I need to sit right on this camera and say everything I need to think and feel and process and give it to you, serve it to you, dear viewer. If there's a glass, consider this. If there's something on that door of these teachers in their classrooms, if there's something that's see-through, where whoever passes that classroom, see, that's why the doors in fact are not made of glass, because it in fact is an interruption to not only the teacher might in fact, if the door was glass, that would help resolve a crime, the glass door I'm saying, right? But if there was a glass door, say if there was, that would in fact be a hindrance to the teacher's concentration, as she might in fact, because see, teachers usually they stand how I'm standing here, and yet usually a door might be there, or it could be right here, right? So to see something walking past like that is to say that would in fact be an interruption to the children if the door is here next to the teacher. But if it's behind the kids, that wouldn't be an interruption to the kids, but it might be an interruption to the teacher, right? Which is why we don't have glass doors on classrooms, and yet that sort of thing might in fact need to be made more real. As I'm sitting here, I'm a natural born problem solver standing right at face with you. There won't be no clothes coming off and all the rest if there was a glass door see-through. What even that? Glass there. That teacher can't be coming out and having sex and all that full blown with students without even faculty members and all the rest knowing about it. Even in the dark. Maybe it could somewhat in the dark, but I think a teacher would be afraid to take chances. Because when people do dirty deeds and stuff like that, supposedly they do it in the back of the classroom and not the front, which is how they're not found out, right? And yet to have the door of the classroom in the back of the class and let it be see through that door is allow that teacher, or not teacher, but to allow the faculty and principal and everybody else and possibly security guards, let them see and know everything through that glass door. That's the point. That's how you, to really resolve things is to think it up right on the spot, as in what needs to be. Quick in a hurry. You want to resolve something, ask me, because I help you figure it out. Well, how are we going to resolve with these teachers doing dirty deeds in the classroom? A glass door. Make it thick as you can, right? Possibly even bulletproof. See, my mind, the way I think, that's why people don't like me. I said that. My mind, how I think, is to say if there's shootings going on in the store, not store, that too, drive-bys, right? Liquor stores, right? To really resolve some stuff is to think it quickly on the spot, like I do. I think in 30 seconds, and that's it. It's resolved, right? But to know that there's shootings going on in schools is to make the door glass and make it bulletproof. You can see through it as well as it's bulletproof, right? That's to ask, would there be a lock on the classroom door? See, the way that I think, there needs to see something needs to be programmed and even formatted with that, because I think so robotically in relation to spaceships as well, is to say, well, if a intruder came into the school, say a shooting, let's go off course right quick and think this out. Knowing that schools are being shot up from the inside out, right? People walking into the school shooting, is to say, how bulletproof do these glass doors need to be, in which I'm speaking on my ideal, not theirs, right? And not only that, what robotically needs to be there to prevent all this from the beginning? There should be sensors or something. Outside of just a metal detector, that needs to be a part of the process too, as in things need to shut down automatically as soon as there's an awareness. Even see there's a radius there, because see, security guards oftentimes, when it comes to elementary schools, oftentimes security guards don't carry guns and all the rest, right, on elementary school property, right? Yet high school they do, because those are older children with issues at times, right? To resolve that, it's a pack of gun, right? In certain states, right? But to resolve a school shooting, even at a grade school or any other school, high school, is to shut it down before it starts, as in a radius, building a barrier around the perimeter. Who don't know that? Even FBI know that, and yet you would think by then they would have something like that outside of just a metal detector. Because if there's self-driving cars that have sensors, such as Tesla, they're Elon Musk, Me and him share the same personality type, which is why I'm able to think this far. As Elon Musk, owner of Tesla and SpaceX, right? We think alike, right? For me to drop it to you right quick, is for me to do that, right? Scientifically, to know that there's a radius and perimeter is to prevent even shooters coming up on a school premises before it gets started. The sensors. Sensors is because a self-driving car has sensors, and so you're going to prevent even the gun making its way on the property, as in a stopping nature. As soon as anybody set foot on the premises of the school, the sensor is going to go off. Every bell whistle within that school is going to go off to let the school authority, all the kids and everybody know that somebody is in fact on the premises and there's a gun right there. Even before they make their way into the parking lot. The step, some feeding or footing back, you might in fact want to step it back. That's how robotically I think. To set it back some is to do even that. To prevent school shootings is to set the radius and perimeter, all that in relation to sensors, how self-driving cars have sensors, as in you drive too far, that self-driving car is going to drive itself out the way when you're the autopilot and all the rest. There's self-correction in that with the self-driving cars. It's the same with those that try to tote guns on the premises of a school. You can stop that. Set the barrier outside, because see, even dogs have been known to have where they're the around their neck, the collar. Some of them whistle the high pitch and all that to prevent a dog from passing out past a perimeter. You can do that even on a school premise. Virginia Tech wouldn't have happened if they would have did of what I'm speaking on. I think like military with all that, right? I said Elon Musk and I think alike. Because see, to know that somebody is packing and loading a gun before they even get on the school premises is to say that sort of thing could be found out even before they make their way. That's CIA type of thinking. That's yes. Central Intelligence Agency, all that, my mindset. Because to know that even soon as whoever the shooter is coming up on the school premises and he's packing a gun, right, it's to say his car, if you want to go farther than that, as in designing something, is to make his car even stall out right there. He'd have to get out on foot, interconnecting stuff robotically. They should do that. Where if you're packing a gun and it's not legal and all the rest, right, it's to have a car stall out. Where shooters got to walk on foot with their gun. And yet they can't even pass through the parking lot. Because soon as they do, everything within that school alarm system and everything is going to go off. As well as a siren saying, just like a car alarm, a siren saying in the hallways of the school, where even the hall monitor and everybody else can hear, there's a shooter on the premises. There's a shooter on the premises. There's a shooter on the premises. There's a shooter. Resolving stuff, issues, knowing the way how to do it, using technology. There's a shooter on the premises. There's a shooter on the premises. There's a shooter on the premises. Because see, the sensors, the point of the sensor is to pinpoint the gun location. Magnetization with that. How well would a school sensor or sensory system on a school premises be able to pick up gun recognition is what it would be. Gun recognition. I'm able to think that far. How would the system of a school premises with the alarming system saying there's a shooter on the premises, there's a shooter on the premises, there's a shooter on the premises, while all the bells and whistles all across the school and even out in the parking lot, all that go off just like how a tornado siren goes off. It needs to be loud, right? On every single school, right? At every location, right? How would that sensor pick up the gun being on a shooter, being carried in a shooter's hands or in the pocket or wherever, right? That sort of thing can be planned out, I'm saying. As in brought into fruition, as in the way that you design something in relation to people packing guns, thinking they're going to pass through a school and shoot it up. To the preventing of that sort of thing. You would design that sensor and it's going to, in fact, pick up Just like that self-driving car, Tesla, to prevent accidents and all the rest, despite there being failure with that. Sometimes, remember, it's new. But the more advanced you go, the better stuff take off, as in it gets better, right? Even with Tesla, that needs to be there. What I said, gun recognition. Because if there's tornado sirens and it's letting everybody know in the city that there's a tornado, that should be on the school premises as well. There's a shooter on a premises. There's a shooter on the premises. There's a that gives everybody quickly enough time to run and scatter where it needs to be, instead of something happening where you're finding out at the last minute. Because that gives even enough time for whoever security guards or multiple security guards to make their way wherever that shooter is. There needs to be improvement in design. Some people are not as advanced as me and Elon Musk and everybody else. That's not to say that I'm better than anybody. No, I just know how to design robotically. Because to say that nobody on YouTube is all talking about stuff the way that I do, in the realm of how you design stuff to protect even the lives of young kids, is to say I said it first, right? I said it and did it first, right? So did I ask this already? Could at any time could she have been molested? Zamora, the teacher, could have any time she had been taken advantage of sexually? Could she have been molested? I ask this question because oftentimes those who have been molested are prone to molest others. We know that, right? What older adult could have molested Zamora growing up, if any? Or did she just hold an interest in preying on young boys? Think about that, dear viewer. And I'm saying that just because someone molests someone, it doesn't always mean they were molested themselves. No. Some people have a tendency or just might enjoy preying on the young and innocent, right? Think about that. Consider everything I just said with that, right? Gives even you, the viewer, something to think about. Why did she do that? What was the point and reason? Because to say it's so, and I say that time and time again, to know that there's so many grown people out here, is to say, why would I ever need a young student? There's nothing I can do with a student. So we are in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. You can in fact make your way here. Yes, unlocked episodes. To receive an audio preview is in fact click the play button right here. You would in fact receive that audio visual. All based upon interest. I completely went over my time. My apologies, and yet I wanted to extend it out some, the video, because I haven't been on the camera for a bit, right? On last night, to gain access to this is in fact putting your provider who you're subscribed to, and you would in fact gain access to that. That's why this is padlocked down. It's all exclusive. There's multiple ones like that, as you will see. Unlock series. Recommended for you. Shouts out to Paula as well as Lieutenant Jokinda. Who's the shout out? Paula sits right there. Who did it first, dear Paula? ID Go original series. Same thing. Preview. Investigation Discovery always makes it good. You the viewer, I'm sure, or else you wouldn't be watching right here, right? Having tips, yes. You in fact want to submit that if you have a tip. Help in the pursuit with that, right? Crime feed news. Gain access to the crime feed full of latest and greatest of murder and mayhem as a click right within here. You see my cursor, you would in fact be directed to the outside, which is the crime feed. Crimefeed.com. Casey Anthony, her face just stays stuck. All the time I always think of what she feels internally about herself. To receive a newsletter from Investigation Discovery is to type your email address in and click next. I'm in fact sitting on the next button, but if you scroll down yourself, you would in fact see it sitting there. But yes, Casey Anthony, it's always questionable how she feels about herself. Some people have a conscience, others don't. I haven't said anything about Casey Anthony about whether she's guilty or not. I'm just throwing that out there. Else, to keep it real with that, some people don't like stuff when I say stuff. Well, that's their problem, not mine, right? People do all type of things. So I'm trying to say. So yes, that's the end of this video. I am going to log it out with even that, and I hope you enjoy your day as well as I will enjoy mine. And I'm gone.